Welcome back. Yeah, Tim Holman torches Democrats over Trump massive deportation plan and suing the hell out of states and cities as well. So let's go ahead and get into the video. This just happened 2 days ago. So let's go ahead and get into the video, shall we? Enjoy.
Know who he is, and he said that these ICE agents, that they're going to shoot people in the airport. I mean, are you serious? Is this seriously, like, this is an actual leader of the Democrat Party?
Yeah, he's a joke. But he continues to terrorize the public, giving a false sense of ICE are Nazis, secret police, they're racist. So if you want the mask off, stop the hateful rhetoric against ICE officers. That increases the threat. Because until you stop your language, we're not taking the mask off. We're going to continue. We just hired 10,000 more deportation officers, a few thousand more to come. We're suing the hell out of sanctuary cities. We'll get the numbers we need.
From the bottom of my heart, like, we appreciate you so much for all you're doing for President Trump and our country. So let's get right to it.
Marco Rubio has nothing on me. I got more jobs than he does.
I was going to say, how many jobs do you have right now? Because apparently now you're handling the airports too.
Yeah. Look, the brave men and women of ICE are stepping up to help secure the airports, and with the people that left TSA, the people that are calling in, because they got to go get a job to feed their families. We got to fill those gaps because the security of the airports is important. We got a heightened threat posture right now. We need to make sure the airports are secure. We need to help Americans get through those lines. And if we see any illegal activity in the airport, we're going to make arrests.
Amen. But I got to ask you. There's this guy. His name is, Hakeem Jeffries. Do you all know who he is? Okay. And he said that these ICE agents, that they're going to shoot people in the airport. I mean, are you serious? Is this seriously, like, this is an actual leader of the Democrat Party?
Yeah, he's a joke. But and I say that because of this reason. He's the same one that wants masks taken off, right?
Right.
But he continues to terrorize the public, giving a false sense of ICE are Nazis, secret police, they're racist. So because of his rhetoric, threats are up 8,000%. That's why they're wearing a mask. So if you want the mask off, stop the hateful rhetoric against ICE officers. That increases the threat. So, right now they're demanding mask off. That's a non-starter. We're not even talking about it because until you stop your language, we're not taking the mask off.
You are talking to ICE agents every single day. What's their morale? How are they feeling? I mean, they're getting assaulted. They've been attacked. They're going after their families. I mean, how is it right now to be an ICE agent in America?
The morale's still high because they work for a great president, greatest president of my lifetime. And plus, they get to do the job they want to do. I mean, for 4 years, they couldn't enforce immigration law. Same with the men and women of the Border Patrol, who I love. But they weren't able to enforce the law. They wanted to enforce the law, right? So now they're able to uphold the oath they take. They're enforcing immigration law. Look, they're overworked tremendously. But you know what? Every day they get up and put that Kevlar vest on, come to work to protect America. I love each every one of them. And I promised the men and women of the Border Patrol and ICE, I came back twice from retirement. My wife's still pissed off. But I tell you what, I will have their backs to the day I die because they're the finest 1% this country has.
And I want to say, can we give literally a round of applause to Mrs. Holman and the family who has supported Tom Holman in allowing him and saying, yes, go back and serve this great country and this great president.
And to every spouse and child of ICE, and look, the threats are up 8,000%. Wives, spouses, and children are being doxxed. They're being followed to school. Death threats against their spouses and children are a real thing. So men and women of ICE and Border Patrol make a hell of a sacrifice, but so don't their families. So a shout out to all the families of ICE and Border Patrol. God bless you.
So President Trump has so many achievements. I mean, so many achievements. What he's been able to do in 1 year is truly remarkable. And you're in that room with him. You're in the Oval Office. You're advising him every single day. What is he telling you?
He's happier than hell. I mean, look, bottom line is, when he called me to come back the second time, he says, I want you to do 3 things. I want you to secure the border. I want you to run a mass deportation operation. I want you to find these missing children, right? Right today, we had the most secure border in the history of this nation today.
Let's break that down further before we go into the other two here. So on the securing the border, it is remarkable. Okay, compare Biden years. I'm not hearing a boo when I say Joe Biden, people. Come on. We do audience participation here. Joe Biden years when it comes to the border. Who came through that border? And now, under President Donald Trump, what has happened?
Well, over 10.5 million illegal aliens came to the border that we know of.
Yeah.
We don't know the unknown gotaways, but we also have 2.1 million known gotaways captured on video with drone traffic or sensor traffic. Why did 2.1 million people pay more to the cartels to get away? Why didn't they pay less, turn themselves into Border Patrol, get released in 24 hours, get a free airline ticket to the city of your choice, get a free hotel room, get 3 meals a day, get free medical care? Why did 2.1 million people pay more not to take advantage of that giveaway program? That just scared the hell out of all of you because it scares the hell out of me.
Yeah.
Well, thank God we got President Trump in the Oval Office because we're removing thousands of these national security threats with the help of the FBI and the intelligence communities. But we got a lot more to find.
And you've got...
Under Joe Biden, 12, 13,000 a day. You know what it was yesterday?
What was it?
121, and not one was released.
Wow.
Now, 12,000 to 121.
And that is just in one day.
One day.
When you were talking about a month, how much would have been under Joe Biden?
A what?
In a month.
Oh, it was 180,000. I mean, they hit almost 2 million people coming to the border in just 1 year. Look, what happened on the border was the biggest national security failure I've ever seen in the U.S. government, and people need to be held accountable. We can't forget what they did to this country. We need to hold people accountable.
And we're in this great state of Texas. It's so remarkable. I mean, talk about they're on the front line, and they're actually working with the federal government to make sure that we can secure our border. Talk about that relationship with the state.
Look, I have a close relationship with Governor Abbott. Like him, I love him. He, under the Biden administration, stood up and secured the Texas border as best he could. Look, everybody says, well, you got Texas DPS and you got the National Guard doing something, not their job. Let me tell you what Governor Abbott did. By every illegal alien they arrested, less fentanyl got in this country, kill Americans. No inspector terrorists got through because everybody was vetted properly, unlike the last Biden administration said they vetted everybody. No, they didn't. They didn't properly vet them. Governor Abbott did. The DPS, the Texas DPS, the Texas National Guard, God bless you. America loves you because you set the example to the entire nation.
And so moving into on this deportation, you were in charge, as the president said, okay, Tom, I need you to implement this mass deportation program. Give us an update on that.
I looked at numbers this morning. Since you've been in the Oval Office, we're about 827,000 deportations. And that beats any record. Under Obama, I actually got an award from President Obama for record deportations. They forgot about that. Anyways, the record was 409,000.
Right.
We beat that. We almost doubled it. And you know, we're going to continue. We just hired 10,000 more deportation officers, a few thousand more to come. Well, if you think numbers were good last year, wait till this year. We've got a lot more resources on the streets. We're going to have a lot more resources on the street. Which brings us to another issue. I see there's a lot of language out there that President Trump's backing off on mass deportation. No, he's not. Look, people are saying I'm not serious about deportations. I read this lately. I've overseen more deportations than any man since the Eisenhower administration. Tom Homan is now weak on deportation. As a matter of fact, my chief of staff, who you met, she came out and she looked at the Eisenhower number. Your number's actually better. So look, President Trump's serious about it. He's going to do it in a smart way.
Right.
Look, we got sanctuary cities putting a roadblock. You got Congress who wants to abolish ICE. It's less efficient than it could be, but I talked to Todd Blanche an hour ago. We're suing the hell out of sanctuary cities. We'll get the numbers we need.
And there's a phenomenon also happening with self-deportation. So we also have that opportunity of people saying, okay, you're going to get paid a certain amount of money and we can facilitate and get you out of the country. How effective has that program been?
It's been real good, and the numbers there are high, but the ones we're leaving on their own, and CBP has the ability to track when they log them down on the border. Look, we're over 2 million self-removals, and the reason that is because they know ICE is out there. There's no free zone anymore.
Right.
You enter this country legally. If you're in this country legally, we're looking for you.
Yeah.
We're going to find you. We're going to deport you. And that message, ICE activities, people want to attack ICE. One of the reasons we have the most secure border in history of this nation is because of the great work of the Border Patrol and President Trump's leadership. But it's because people are seeing what ICE is doing across the country, and they're saying, hell no. I don't want to give my life savings to the criminal cartel to get the border and not be released. And if I happen to get by the Border Patrol, there's no free zone anymore. ICE is looking for it. Under Biden administration, he told ICE, you can't arrest an illegal alien unless he's convicted of a serious offense. President Trump says get them all, and that's what we're doing.
Get them all. And I think one of the effects of securing the border, one of the effects of having ICE on the streets is making our cities more safe. There's no question. We're seeing murder rates going down in these cities. I mean, what's your sense in what ICE has been able to do to identify these gang members, these illegal aliens who are criminals in our country, that we've seen these tragic stories of women being raped, young women being killed? Tell us about that. What's the impact in these cities, in our communities, knowing that ICE has taken out a lot of these illegal aliens who are criminals?
Well, it's significant. Like, if you look at, let's just say 825,000, we average between 60 and 70% of those we arrest are criminals. You're talking over 500,000 public safety threats that we kicked out of this country. That's going to have a significant impact. And that's why we say we're prioritizing. I want the folks to know that just because we say we're prioritizing the public safety threats and national security threats doesn't mean we're not looking for everybody else. And that's why I said right now the number is going 62% criminal, the other 38% are non-criminal. We're going to enforce an immigration law apology. But if you got a child rapist here and an illegal alien here, you're going to get this guy first.
No.
But you're not going to forget about this guy. You're going to get him too. But it's just a matter of who you get first. But I want to be clear. The instructions to ICE is to enforce immigration law. You find an illegal alien, you're going to arrest him. If he's not a criminal, I don't care. You're going to arrest him. We're going to find him. We're going to arrest him. We're going to deport him.
The other piece of this are the missing children. And, you know, I know for us at CPAC, we have the CPAC Center for Combating Human Trafficking. You know, we've talked to victims. We've had engaging with them, understanding the atrocities. And you hear about these rape trees in Arizona where they bring over the cartels, bring over these young women who are then raped in places in Arizona. They're sex trafficked, they're sexually assaulted. I mean, it's truly, it's horrific to watch what has happened and what was allowed to happen under the Biden years. Tell us about this mission of finding the missing children.
Well, like I said, the first conversation when the president called me to come back out of retirement the second time, we did the most three things. Now it's honest, we got the most secure border in history. I told the president, we'll do that because the men and women border patrol know how to do it. They did it in Trump 45. So I'll take that's easy. But I'm not taking credit for the secure border. I'm giving the credit to the men and women wearing that green uniform and that blue uniform who did their job because they're allowed to do their job. So thank God for the United States Border Patrol. Massive deportation. Now, I just said we got record number of arrest deportation. We're going to do a lot more because we just hired a lot more people. The children, I was honest with the president. I said, that's the hardest one. I says, because to find people, like you own the audience, you own a car, you own a home, you're paying bills, you got a credit card, we know how to find you, right?
Right.
A child don't
Please don't try to find me, Tom. Just.
But children don't have that digital footprint. I explained to the president, they don't have the digital footprint, so we got to count on the digital footprint of who they were released to, designed by the sponsors. And when we started this operation, we quickly found out, number one, they weren't vetted properly. Number two, the addresses were never verified.
That's
so
right.
We're going to addresses at our supermarkets and parking lots and city parks. So the men and women of ICE and FBI have been busting their butt trying to find these kids, and they found right around 145,000 missing children.
And I believe.
And let me say something. That's 145,000 missing children that the last administration lost and weren't even looking for.
Yeah.
And did we rescue them all? Look, some of these children were with their parents just hiding out, but many, too many, were victims of sex trafficking, being sold for sex, and being in forced labor. President Trump's leadership has literally saved thousands of young children's lives, and we're not done. I have promised the president, the president promises the American people, we'll do everything we can to run down every lead. And when we finish the leads, we'll do it again. Until the last day of this administration, you got my word. We will not give up in this effort to find every one of them.
And then, you know, when you go back to this, I remember hearing stories about, and when I was at the White House, that they would explain, they would literally, the kids would have the same address. So they would send like 200 kids to the same address, to the same quote unquote sponsor. Then they weren't doing DNA testing either. So really, I mean, I just can't imagine. Like, I can't understand how the Biden administration just wouldn't get that.